chairs have brought forth an agent to go out and fight vampires. He's come back and he must face the CHAIRQUISITION. This is Victor Vran from Haemimont Games. This is developed on a custom in-house engine. You might have heard of it. It's powering the game Tropico 5, aka Sin Dictator. Does a brilliant job about that. It's anywhere from 20 wet stinky euros to 30 Canadian wet stinky bucks. It's dripping. It's just dripping in maple syrup. It's brilliant. But what is it? Victor Vran is the isometric action RPG where your skill is just as essential as your character build and gear. Experience intense action, dodge, jump, and unleash powerful skills to finish off your enemies. And with all games that face the CHAIRQUISITION, they must face the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's pretty good. 3 chairs means that it's awesome, and 4 chairs means that it's super special, chocolate fudge, mega, super, ultra rich, awesome. We also have our categories of doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. Don't know what these mean. Then you have serious mental deficiencies. Your brain is like Empty's face, just terrifying. So, mixed with the working. Ben.
Over here, on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS, 8150 octo-core 980 powered 4K displayed box of business. It just works. I mean, even in early access, we've had this since billions of years ago in the future. And it genuinely has always just worked. Now, I'll get into controllers later, but even in Genesis, when we first got a hold to the Linux version, I was going to reach over here, and I poke at the controller organ, and things moved, and they worked, and that was brilliant. Good times were had by all. But you're asking, how does it work at 4K? Completely mothering playable. It is. It's brilliant. So, mixed with the working, 4 chairs.
Yeah, on the Fedora 21 or 22 powered 64-bit AMD 1090T with the GTX 980 and the not so latest NVIDIA drivers anymore. Yeah, out of the box it worked. Early access, they did have some issues with controller support, but that has all been sorted out. No, and you might also remember this had an issue with Thuban-based processors, or the engine at least did back when Tropico 5 was out, but not in this game. Runs right out of the box, 4 chairs.
Yep. And on the AMD FX 8370E, which is now overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz, with the NVIDIA GTX 970 Strix from Asus, using the latest drivers on Aurora 2164-bit. Everything worked out of the box. It at 1080p, with everything cranked up to 11, it holds 100 plus FERPs just about everywhere except near the transmutator in the hub. But that's not enough for me to ding it a chair, so it gets 4 of them.
All right, on the Ubuntu 1404 64-bit 1100T GTX 780 Ti powered box of insane mayhem, it runs perfectly. The first time I started it up, it played for about 5 minutes and then just noped me back to my desktop. But I've rebooted in the meantime, and it has run flawlessly for hours since then. So I'm going to guess that was my fault and not the game's fault. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 4 chairs to mix with the working. Up next is the shiny and the sound. So Ben, take it away.
All right, Brother Sveng. The first few areas in this game, they're hell of impressive. For a Linux game, I hate to say that, but that's a real fact that we have to deal with in 2015. Unfortunately, the later areas/dungeons, they kind of look like placeholders, and, well, Brad, it seems like the Devels kind of got to the end of that process and said, yeah, it looks good enough, fuck it, leave them in. Same goes for the baddies. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mr. Iceball Pants, and you, Mrs. Foo-Foo Rocky Monster. Yes, you know what I'm talking about if you played this game. But let's talk about some good things, man. The sound's a bit of all right sauce. You kind of like that. Explosions and thwacks, for the most part, they're genuinely satisfying. However, the voiceover guy, well, Brad, that should have been me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give that 3 chairs for the shinies and the sounds, because I think it's a bit of all right.
Yeah, Veden touched on this a little bit. The levels can get kind of samey, especially... It's not impossible to get lost if you've been fucking around with the camera, because you'll get turned around and everything still looks the same regardless of what angle you're looking at it at. And, you know, sometimes you'll get turned around. The visuals themselves are pretty good. Solid for a Linux game. The engine that Haemimont is using is pretty solid. I wouldn't go out of my way to say that they are completely balls to the walls awesome, but it's good. It's solid. It's better than PlayStation 3 level graphics, or actually, you know, it's about the same. Actually, what this game really reminds me of is Force, just sort of the visual style and how everything
It's
better
much
than
better than
Force.
Force.
those better than Force. It still reminds me of it. Either way. The voice work is all right. The cutscenes are okay. I'll usually just skip over them because I really don't care. I want to get back to killing skeletons with a wave of shotgun bullets, and the QPUs work. It's all good. 3 cheers.
Yeah. So I'll touch a bit on the voice acting in the fun section. I'll explain why at that time. But yeah, the graphics look good. The sound in general is satisfying, like Ben already mentioned. But I was looking at the options menu, and I'm scrolling through the anti-aliasing options, and I'm like, there's something missing here.
Yes, it's the one that cripples NVIDIA cards.
Yeah,
It
where
works.
did MSAA go? I'm like, I remember this had an MSAA because at one point, me and Ven were like swapping screenshots to tell the difference between one level of MSAA and the first we were getting and another. So I'm like, where'd they go? But yeah, FXAA, it works. You don't see any jaggy, so good on them for that. So it gets 3 chairs.
A leprechaun.
Thank you.
No, Miss Leprechaun,
now
get
that Jordan
away
has
from
mentioned it, I do see a touch of Forced in there. I also immediately thought Torchlight 2. Maybe
With
a little
jumping.
better than Torchlight 2. The other thing is that the sounds and the audio are better than your average bear. At one point, the narrator sang the Brave Sir Robin Ran Away song from
Oh yeah,
Monty Python's
I
Holy Grail.
remember that. Yeah.
Brave
Except
Sir
he sang
Victor
it Brave
ran
Sir
away.
Vran ran away, and I really liked that. 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 whole chairs for Shiny and the Sounds. Up next is the Control.
Well, Brad, get a look at this. Keyboard and gerbil work like you would expect after you quit bitching. But why would they use WAS controls? I want to point and click and fuck my fucking gerbil over left and right constantly and buy a new
Tank
one.
controls.
That happens, but wrap your minds around this, gentlemen. You know, I've never played an action RPG that just worked trademark with a controller. Speaking of that, we got the X-Load controller right over here. And I reckon this could very well be the best adapted ARPG control scheme in the world. It genuinely works like that. It's a bit of all right. I take Torchlight, for example. I guess maybe there was some way to adapt that to a control. This, out of the box, is how I learned how to play it. It just works, and that's a good thing. This is the first type of hack and slash type deal that I would say, hey, this would be great. If you have a Steam box, you got your mates over, hook it up, and let's play it and get it on. Then you play the game. So, man, just a bunch of awesome sauce here. I'm going to give it 4 chairs.
Yeah, the controls really remind me of Forced, and holy shit, something went. No, it's so fun. Yeah, no, going back to the Forced analogy. Yeah, it really does remind me of that with the controls. Back when I was playing this in early access, I was stuck using WASD because the particular Xbox controller I had plugged in at the time did not want to play nice with Victor Vran out. When Ven said, "Hey, you haven't been playing with the controller," I'm like, "There's controller support." But I gave it a whirly bird with the DualShock 4. The DualShock 4.
Where's the water?
The one that I didn't just drop and spill water everywhere. No, it works out of the box. The key prompts are still for the Xbox controller, so there's
One
like
thing
a
I want to
split
ask
second
you, can I ask you? Because I
Sure.
forgot to mention, how did you deal, if you've tried it with the controllers, because I forget to mention, it is kind of a bit shit sorting your cards and inventory.
Yes, it is, because there is a specific button for each slot that you put stuff in. And if you're not paying attention to the absolute bottom of the inventory card on the screen, you're not going to notice that. It's like, why can't I equip 2 weapons? Oh, because I have to press the square button or the B button on the Xbox controller to equip it to the right hand and the A button to.
But that's more of it's your own damn fault for not paying attention, right?
Yeah, it's more of that. The potions are a bit weird too, because you have to use the directional keys to use bombs or grenades or potions. But I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's flawless. There's no input lag, nothing. Everything does what you expect it to do. And yeah, 4 chairs.
All right, and both the NVIDIA Shield controller here and the PS2 DualShock that I currently have plugged into the Steam box, they all worked out of the box. They all have their own shortcomings. The NVIDIA Shield controller, the touch bits, are not SDL2 compatible yet. NVIDIA kind of needs to fix the firmware on that, please. But they worked. Everything that usually works with other games also worked with this one. The mapping was sensible for once, so good on them for that. But it is also perfectly playable with the gerbil and the keyboard if you're weird like me, because I actually prefer to play it with the gerbil and the keyboard. So, yeah, so it gets 4 chairs for me.
Now, Pedro, I am weird like you. You are talking to the guy who plays racing games on the keyboard. But
Ethan, burn him!
That's why you get beat.
I fired this thing up. I started playing it on the controller. I was like, hey, this is pretty nice. I should try it on the keyboard. Maybe next level. Maybe next. Nah. Never even tried it on the keyboard because the controller just works too damn nice. And then I discovered a little bit of beautiful extra tasty sauce where when you're fighting, you don't even need to mash on the X button. You can just hold it down. So your thumb starts getting all tired from wailing on the smash button. And you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to press that down and just, oh, hey, look, I'm wailing on everybody and I'm not doing a damn thing. It's great.
Your thumb got tired?
Yes, it did.
So you masturbate with your left hand. All right, gotcha.
No, that's more of a wrist action than a thumb action.
You keep telling
For
yourself
you,
that.
I don't even know how
tell
you
us
do
the
that,
chairs.
man.
Tell us the chairs.
4 chairs.
All right, so that's 4 chairs for control. And finally, our subjective category, fun. Ben, did you have fun?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Playing
boys
Victor
and girls,
Vran?
gather around and let's talk about Victor Vran. Yeah, I mean Vran.
I see what you did there.
Oh, it's supposed to be funny. No, it's not. It's more of an action versus RPG when you think about this. And that is not terribly a bad thing. You see, I've never been a fan of the typical ARPGs because, for me, managing stats is something better left to my accountant. And, to be perfectly honest, card systems anger and confuse me. However, Mr. Vran is extremely light in both of these areas, so there was a chance that I might possibly enjoy it. And I did. I spent most of my time running about collecting weapons and upgrading my special attacks. Only later did I explore the card system, and after some fuckery I became near unstoppable. At level 25, good times were had by all. And, well, that's just the good. Let's talk about the bad, because we're just going to be honest here. Anyone have the slightest idea what the fucking story is?
Nope.
Kinda, sorta, not really.
You know, I have over 24 hours in this game, and I played like 4 hours, maybe 6 hours in pause on Shadow of Hordor, and I know what the story is in this game. Victor Vran, fuck all idea what the story is supposed to be. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's genuinely that forgettable. And then, right before the end of early access, they introduced a crafting system that is so poorly explained, you might as well just leave it the fuck alone, because you will end up destroying perfectly good fucking items, going, what is this? Oh, fuck. Whatever. But on top of that, playtime is artificially extended by collecting stars and applying mutators to each dungeon. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just a cheap way of getting around a shorter game, and everything after level 20 becomes a grindfest, and multiplayer, as we've experienced, both with J-Man and myself, and T-Han and myself, it's completely fucking unbalanced. I mean, there's nothing really to make that legit, but if you mix all that nasty sauce in with a 10-hour completion time for a hack and slash in action RPG clothing, well, at the end of the day, I honestly have to say it's still a better love story than Gauntlet. So, I'm going to give it 2 chairs.
You know, just like the setting and the setup of this game, it really does remind me of sort of a budget Bloodborne, especially with the 2 weapon sets. You basically pick your 2 weapons, and then you have that. Like Ben said, the system, the stat system is light but surprisingly deep, because you can really customize. Yeah, you can really customize your character depending on how you want to play. Like for me, I go with all the explosion and the lifesteal cards, and then I have the shotgun that gets really easy critical hits on mooks.
System.
Yeah, there is no class system. You basically just your choice of weapons determines your secondary abilities. And since you have 2 potential. You have 6 abilities that you can make use of, plus your bombs, plus your spells, plus your cards giving you additional benefits. It is light if you want it out of the way, but there is significant depth to it, and I do like that. It can be a bit easier at times if you have your right setup. You can just mow through enemies, and levels basically become long just because you're running around picking them off one by one, and until they're whittled down enough that you can go and melee and finish them off. And yeah, vampiric shotgun, really super easy for that. And what the nice thing is, you can sink many hours into this game and not really realize it at the time. The one thing that really bugs me though, they haven't fixed it since early access. Save points are few and far between. So if you want to take a break, too fucking bad. You're starting back from the castle. At least you keep all your equipment. At the end of the day, it is a mediocre it is a solid Torchlight like action RPG. I had fun with it. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll give it 3 chairs.
It's a Torchlight. But yeah, I'd give it 4 chairs for the fun, weren't it for the fact that it tickles the completionist side of my brain with those side objectives that you get for each dungeon. It's like, oh, you'll get a chest if you don't take any damage and kill 500 spiders in 2 minutes. Oh, what's that? A tiny-ass spider kind of snuck up on me.
No,
and
you have to do that upside down with 4 mutators applied on a Tuesday.
Yep. And the game's
while
yeah,
singing
you
the
took
Star Spangled
1 damage. Better luck next time, dumbass. So yeah, and that kind of leads me into the next reason that I can't give it 4 chairs, which is whenever you start a dungeon, usually Vicky or the voice guy kind of have a little plot dump that they do. And the voice acting is all right, but when you listen to it 10, 15, 20 times in a row because you're repeating the same dungeon again and again and again, trying to get all the stars, like I did, because I'm an idiot, it gets kind of annoying. How about, this is a suggestion for Haemimont games, how about you make it so that the voices only play the first time you get through the dungeon. After that, everything's quiet. You can still get the little subtitles up on the screen, that's fine. Just don't have them speak. I was getting real fucking tired of listening to the voiceover or Vicky or whomever it was that was
like I said, I should have been the voice person. Then you would never get tired.
So
I'd just be all, shut up then.
Exactly. You would argue.
You know, if Ven was actually the voice person, I might actually give it 4 chairs. But it's not the case. That said, though, it is a pretty good game. I'd say, personally, it's worth the $20 admission price if you like hack and slashers and want one with a slight twist on the genre. Because, hey, jump button for the win. 3 chairs.
Yeah, so I put in like 4 hours, and already by hour 3, it was starting to feel a little bit repetitive. It did do a really good job with the just one more mission, just one more chest, just kill all the bad guys, kind of OCD completionist type thing. kind of like Torchlight 2 and Diablo 3 had a baby, and it's quite a bit of fun to play with. 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 whole chairs for fun. If we tally this entire mess up, it is 3 chairs on the CHAIRQUISITION scale. Oh god, my heartburn. It's so terrible. Not like this game, which is pretty good. Yeah, definitely pick this up if this goes on sale for dirt cheap. Grab it. It runs smoothly. The guys at Haemimont did a fantastic job, and they deserve your support.
They did a fantastic job, and we'll get around to some final thoughts, so I'll take step 1 on this. We didn't get Gauntlet.
This is true.
This, I mean, I hate to break it to you, ladies
blue.
and gentlemen, and the developers, like, but this is a hack and slash game with some ARPG elements maybe kind of in there on the side that you can kind of also completely fucking ignore and still have a good time.
Yep.
That's kind of my point. If you want something to team up with your mates and just get in some dungeons and fuck around for a few moments, just do it and enjoy it. At 19.99, what stinky caches? Maybe local multiplayer. Maybe wait till this thing goes on, 10% off or something like that. If you're kind of curious, as like I am, because I put more time into this, just talking about exploring areas than I did Torchlight 2, because I hated the control scheme. I was like, oh, God, this is destroying my new Turbo EP and YOLO Extreme Logitech mouse, but I can play those with the control. You can sit back and comfortably and actually play the game. When I say that, I mean it. You can play the game just as effectively as you would with a keyboard and gerbil. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
I would say even more so, actually.
We got shot on with Gauntlet. This is our Gauntlet, and show these guys for actually releasing this damn thing on Linux and not noping out, and support developers that do. Pedro?
No, this is our Gauntlet. This is our Van Helsing. This is a very... No, it's not Bloodborne. Even with the hexes that sort of put you a little put you behind a little... They give you some hindrances.
Pedro, do you have any legendary
monsters...
weapons?
The one. Just the one.
I got the hammer. That was the first one I got after
I got
20
the
hours.
scythe.
All right.
Which was kind of amazing. But yeah, you can activate those hexes to make the game slightly harder, but it's only artificially harder because the monsters get more health and they get regeneration, which means that it just makes them annoying. Sometimes you'll get like 100 damage out of the
what
blue
about the
with one of the
star-shaped,
hexes.
sunglass-wearing dancing skeletons?
Yes, you do get to do the Gangnam style dance if you get hit by one of those. There's actually an achievement for that, but it is a very good game. It's not going to change anyone's mind when it comes to hack and slashers, but if you like hack and slashers already, get this one.
The saving point of this game is how awesome it works from a controller. You can just lean back, mash away on your buttons, or hold them down to continuously attack. And it's fun. I mean, it's easy to nitpick and, find all sorts of little things that are not so great, like the background music. Nobody commented on the background music. You know why?
It's kind of forgettable.
There was background
But-
music?
There's a
Yes,
story.
there was. But when it comes down to it, you lean back, you've got your controller, you're smashing skeletons.
Got some lotion.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's a fun game. And that a lot of games just fail to deliver having fun. And
Yep.
definitely check this game